Alright, YouTube, let's play Victoria 2, as promised. I was gonna wait till like tomorrow or something, but I haven't played this in a while other than I dicked around with, this is my cheating game file, by the way. For those who noticed that it's odd that I formed Italy in the 1860s, yeah, I was using console commands in that one, so sometimes I do that, most of the time I don't. And Prussia looks a little bit odd, honestly, in that game. France looks a little bit odd, too. They've invaded, Prussia, and so okay. But yeah, sometimes I do that. But with this, I obviously won't. I will be playing as Prussia, since people were talking about having boners about that, because Prussia's cool. Let's face it. Now, I have a tendency to speed up the game from time to time. I'm going to try not to do that. Now, the first thing that you're going to do as Prussia is reorganize your military, I believe. Because if you don't reorganize your military, it doesn't function as well. And then, of course, build your new troops. Now, you've got two national focuses. I've always found that it's helpful to get clergymen, thoughts on the clergy aside, in some of your more populated provinces. That just helps your literacy to go up faster. As far as the budget goes, because the first war is going to be with Denmark, and Denmark is not necessarily a powerhouse, we're not going to need our national stockpile so high. This also helps us to generate our troops without so much loss to our economy. Our tax rate right now is reasonable. I have a tendency to set it down a little bit, just to encourage people not to have militancy, and then put our military spending up. We'll see if we can actually maintain that. Education, we're going to want that at maximum. Just again, to get the edge over the Austrians over time. They'll fall further behind. By the 1870s, if I haven't formed Super Germany, they'll be irrelevant at that point. As far as research goes, the Prussians need to focus heavily on their land forces. They also need to focus on industry. But Navy is also important. We're going to get steamers fairly early on. And anything that adds to our political capabilities, for instance, anything that increases education efficiency is always good. Market structure, obviously, is good. This also helps with your industry. But first, I think we're going to work on muzzle-loaded rifles. I have a tendency, I know some people prefer Army leadership and Army doctrine overall. I prefer focusing on light and heavy armament most quickly. I find infantry is the backbone of your military early game. Now, as for diplomacy, of course, one of the big things about Victoria 2 that sets it apart from other games within the genre is that it's heavy on diplomacy, especially if you're playing as Prussia. Early on, when we go to war with Denmark, we're going to be taking our cultural core here and taking this from their sphere. Because, of course, I think, actually, they're not in their sphere. To add to our sphere, actually. We're going to be fighting them at the same time. We're going to be trying to get this. Oh, that's already in our sphere. Seems a little bit different for some reason. Now, this is a satellite. Hanover isn't released yet. They're a satellite of the United Kingdom. We're going to need them in our sphere. We're physically connected to them. The Austrians aren't. We may or may not outright annex Saxony, or we may just go to war with Austria, add it to our sphere. Takes an extra year or so, but we'll be going to war with Denmark very quickly, and we'll be adding, this satellite, yes, they're a satellite, actually, we will be adding that to our sphere as well. Now, let me do a quick check here. Got plenty of cavalry, obviously. I think it's artillery, actually, that you're deficient in early game, and that's sort of a limitation on our ability to form functioning armies. We're going to want probably 5 of them. Got plenty of cavalry. We'll make more infantry. Now, I know that this is going to really heavily tax our economy, so to speak, but we're going to need those troops. And then we'll see what happens with our economy. Now, it should start declining. It'll probably run into debt fairly quickly. Yep, see, it's running into debt. If it starts to approach 0 before it stabilizes from constructing all of those troops, then we'll have to set the national stockpile lower. We got to move all of our troops into place before we do anything else. We'll probably disband our navy temporarily. Okay. I'll show you my general army structure. So we got engineers too. Those are actually relatively important. So each of these armies that we're going to send into Denmark will be fairly standard, other than having an engineer, which helps with their defense. It doesn't really help with attack or anything like that. We're going to send some armies up here and prepare for war with Denmark. Again, a relatively simple battle. That marching sound. Oh god. And then we're going to prepare. So we've built 5 new artillery. Oh, we're actually going to want some cavalry. Well, you can just use the dragoons. It doesn't really matter. We'll put them along our Austrian border, just to sort of intimidate the Austrians. I know the AI doesn't really care where your troops are if you haven't mobilized, but we'll put some good folks down there. And then we'll leave a goodly army temporarily while our troops are generated in Berlin. Just pop them over there. How many men are they capable of being sustained there? Yeah, they are. Okay. So we got 3 armies that we're going to send up to Denmark. That is enough. See, we've already got the ability to increase our relationship with Hanover here. We should be able to get them. Again, if they ban our embassy, we might have a little bit of a problem there. And we're fast approaching 0 here, but it looks like it's starting to stabilize. We'll see what happens. Okay, if we run into a little bit of debt, it's not going to make that big a difference. Most of that is because of national stockpile. We're still preparing those last artillery pieces there. So if we run into debt, no problem. It doesn't matter. You can see. And we're owing it to the Bank of Prussia. You know, I think you can owe up to 5,000 to your own bank before you start to owe somebody else. Yep, see, they're discrediting us to slow us down there. But, it doesn't look good for our economy. Okay. Yeah, and once those troops are organized to the same level that these guys are at, that'll be fine. So we get those 3 armies. Now, I believe... Oh, okay, we've already got military access, and we're going to end up at war with them anyway. So we're going to declare a war of unification on Denmark. It's still the first year of the game. And we're going to march right in and prepare for battle. Yes! We're also going to attack Holstein there. See, we've wiped out their soldiers already. I'm not too worried about the fact that we're running into debt, by the way, right now. That's a natural thing that happens. See, we're starting to owe to the UK as well. We might actually have to... what can we set lower? Well, we can just... That's not going to help us very much, but... It'll, once those troops are organized, it'll help. So, those are all infantry. Well, we'll send them there, actually. Send them to the side. So, what we're going to try to do is, again, we're going to have to occupy this whole area, plus, you know, both of these chunks of land, in order to get them into our sphere and so forth. Let's see. They're still trying to generate more troops here. That's going to become our land in the future. See, God, if only we could do something about the fact that the British have discredited us. Right now, we're not able to really influence anyone else. We're also going to have to influence Hull, so we have to release them as a satellite, then get them into our sphere. Thankfully, we'll have a physical border with them at that point. We're still running up a lot of debt here. It's starting to make me worry slightly. We're going to have to put this down a little bit further. Put it to 70 and see what happens. Okay. Now then, Artillery piece there. 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 Yeah, see, our advisors have been through. It's not going to matter. I mean, they will release them anyway. Now, if you try to march here, I believe that the Navy comes out and blocks you from your movement. Yeah, see. See, look, oh, here come the Danes. Oh, no. Good thing they're worthless in battle. You can't do anything to me. Usually they generate another army, and then they'll come after you. No, you're gonna get white peace from me. I'm gonna add a war goal too. Release the Holsteinians, yes. Give them their freedom. We are liberators. See, now we've got all these armies to where, and they've got dragoons, which are slightly better than normal cavalry. Oop. So they'll be fairly effective. And then we can send a 4th army up here, actually. For some reason, we're still suffering economic loss. Pretty bad. Could just put a tariff on goods, maybe. It wouldn't be that effective, though. Yeah. Well, we can't do anything. We'll just set our stockpile really low after this war is done, honestly. We're going to attack you, too. Battle of our house in the middle of the street. I'm just going to bully them around and destroy them entirely. That might actually, usually I can't trap one of the troops there. Usually they retreat back across here. Maybe I'll be able to wipe them out entirely and get my war goals here. No. Also, we're at war, so that naturally makes the economy a little bit worse. No, you're not getting white peace. Yeah, I know they threw out our ambassadors. There's nothing we can do about it. Oh, yeah. Do we have enough clippers to actually transport our men? Yeah, technically. Okay, we don't really need extra infantry there. Now you can see the amount that we're owing is slowly declining over time. It will turn into a surplus. It's just take a while here. Oh shit, a flu endemic. Now, will they accept our proposal? Not yet. I'm gonna have to make you suffer. Now will you accept it? Okay. I'm gonna have to carve these armies up just to allow our, well, actually, since we can gain access to them. Okay. Now with Hanover, we're so close and yet so far, but we also need to get them into our sphere. See, now we're running a surplus. And I have military access? No? God damn it. Alright, we're gonna, even though I don't really like clippers, I like steamers. We're gonna have to build a few more just for ease of use for right now. Yeah, I know that drives our economy back down, but whatever. I think we have to break each one of these down actually further, just in order to transport them. How sad. How ineffectively sad. Yeah, but we're gonna lower our national stockpile further. I mean, if we're not at war, we don't need to worry about it right yet. Yeah, it can get a little bit tedious here. Yeah, I will say that for sure, for certain. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get steamers as quickly as we can, trust me. Yeah. Yeah, the Prussians aren't known early game as being particularly good naval power. We're gonna leave one army there, I think. Well, it's out of the way. I don't know if we'll need to, but yeah, see, we can't even. Holstein. Now we've got a cordial relationship with the Holsteinians. And our economy's not crap anymore. Oh, yeah. Derp. I miscalculated slightly. Who gives a crap? Where the hell did our other ships go? Oh. I know they threw us out. I always do. It's too bad, really. Yes, indeed. Once we get muzzle-loaded rifles, the next step is probably artillery and then steamers. Thereafter, I get tired of this crap. Now I believe, let's see here. Dragoon artillery. Yes, so the cavalry units have. Okay, so we're gonna need. Fine. Yeah, we'll add one extra infantry each one. Just to buff up our forces a little bit. does that look like it's... Oh, because it is 2 armies. Derp. And that one needs it. Okay. I get silent a little bit when I'm playing something like this. It's more involved, perhaps, than some games, honestly. Okay, so we're friendly with both Hanover and Holstein. Until Hanover is released, it looks like we won't be getting a chance to get them there. Okay, we've almost wiped out our loan totals, which is good. Otherwise, we might get 20th century leaders ranting about usury. So those armies are all capable. Is this one smaller? Why does that one look smaller? Oh, because it is. Okay. Terp. Okay, now... Now we should be able to set our stockpile up to 75. Our taxes back down just a smidgen. That just gives us better preparation overall, honestly. But yeah. So now we're waiting. We need both of these in our sphere before we do anything involving Saxony. It would be nice also. I'm going to wait till muzzle-loaded rifles obviously comes through. That gives us an edge, generally speaking, over the Austrians. Their military score right now is 41. We're at 51. So we are ahead of them, generally speaking. Our naval force, though, is they've actually got a relatively large navy early game. Oh, I still got troops up there, too. Once they're in my sphere, I can just march troops across, honestly, but for right now, until they're in the sphere, they won't let my troops through. It's a little bit of an issue. Gonna have to punish those people in the 1900s. Oh, now they want to be an ally. Okay. Notice how I'm not trying to influence any of these smaller states, because I intend to form the North German Confederation before, like, 1841-ish. So it won't actually be a problem. I might be able to form one more army, honestly. Here. Berlin doesn't actually need to be particularly well defended. Yep. See, you get a small, group of men there. Now, what I do typically is I allow the Austrians to come across the border. First I lay waste to Saxony. I let them come across, I death stack one of their armies, basically destroy it entirely. But I can't do anything until I have muzzle-loaded rifles. Preferably, I've paid off all my loans, have stabilized the economy. We've got a new factory going up. Prussia starts out with a decent industrial score, 16, which isn't high, but we're 4th in the world, so honestly, we're not doing too badly. Okay. And the cat right now is doing her nighttime routine of making loud noises at me, so pay that no mind. Alright, let's check our diplomacy. Hanover, yeah, we're getting close on both, actually. The British have stopped. Oh, no, I was looking at the wrong one. Oh, we're really close. Come on, come on, come on. Just get to 100. Oh, it looks like we're going to do it. Oh, we're going to remove Hanover from their sphere. Yes. Wait. Only have... Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Alright, they're no longer in the sphere of the UK. Now we've got muzzle-loaded rifles, too. So we're going to go for... I know strategic mobility is good. So, too, by the way, is medicine. In fact, we're going to go for medicine next. Now that they're out of their sphere, the British usually lose interest in doing anything. And the Austrians don't have a physical border, so they're no threat to us diplomatically for Hanover. I also think they start out as just cordial with them, if I remember. No, they're not even that. They're neutral. See, now the British are no longer trying to influence them. Actually, if we do this really quick, I think we might be able to get crown from a gutter. Let's put like 1 on there, since we're almost at 100 with Holstein anyway. But they can't do it. They're only at neutral, and the British have lost interest because it's no longer in their sphere. It's not 1840. If we can get this, I think we do get crown from a gutter, which means we have the option technically of forming Germany. You lose the option of forming Super Germany, but as Germany, you can pick away at the Austrians. It is more, I guess, traditional in the border sense. The French will leave you alone at that point. You'll have too much industry, too large a military. But, yeah, once these are both in the sphere here, I'm gonna, let's see, build any more troops now. Zoop. There we go. Now we only owe to our own bank, which is good, and it's a much smaller amount. Oh, yeah, we're gonna get Holstein in our sphere too here in a second. Now see, we're shooting ahead of the Austrians diplomatically because they don't have a land border. Okay. Holstein is now in our sphere. The Austrians won't bother doing anything about that. We're going to go to war with them fairly quickly once medicine is done. So, and we might get, honestly, we might get crowned from a gutter here. That's very odd. That usually doesn't happen. Usually the British have a pretty good lid on it. They must have been distracted elsewhere diplomatically. But we're friendly with them, they're only neutral, so even though they're going to hit 50 here, they can't actually discredit us. In fact, look, they're not even bothering. Okay, now they're in our sphere. We're going to keep 1 on them. We might be able to grip, actually, Saxony. If we can do this diplomatically. What do we start out as? Okay, we're cordial with them. If we can at least get to friendly, it'll be helpful, I suppose. They're in our sphere. They're now in our sphere, even though they're still a British satellite. When the British, by the way, I think when the British lose control... Yeah, liberal provocation. When the British lose control, I believe we will be offered crown from a gutter. Let's see. Any more troops we can make? No, and we don't have any railroads to do. I usually like to form the experimental railroad early on, too. It helps troop movements. But because I'm going after Austria really quickly here, trying to, again, form the North German Confederation at least before 1845. And what's this? Oh, now we can increase. Okay, they're now friendly with us. The Austrians will almost certainly outflank us, but they're always trying to also influence Bavaria, Württemberg, and those states. So they may or may not actually get a chance to do that. And we don't have to worry about Hanover. Who's that? Oh, yeah. Usually you get a whole host of alliance offers early on in the game. See, they've thrown out our ambassadors. But that may not actually matter. Oh, they banned us entirely. Okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. Which means we have to wait till medicine is done here. Unless we get crowned from a gutter, in which case we get all those... See, you have to make these decisions. I don't care if there's liberal agitation, it tends to get removed fairly quickly. As you can see, the militancy of the population is not particularly large. It appears to be falling, too. Consciousness is slowly growing. In the future, we'll have social reforms and all that stuff, all that crap. We can finally repay, I believe, all of our loan. Almost. Yeah, we still owe just a little tiny bit. Okay, no more loan repayments. Which means we can probably... Actually, can we just max this? Yeah, okay. Now our troops will be better prepared. Bremen. You can see people here. A lot of people are getting their luxury needs. Of course, the needs of a population are a little bit different. You know, the rich smoke the opium, the middle class smokes tobacco, the poor, they just want their bread, basically. Oh, give us some beer. That's all they want. You get high off of it. But now these two are in our sphere. But until medicine is done, it's not the greatest of ideas to go after the Austrians. You will take attrition, you take a lot less with medicine. And with muzzle-loaders, muzzle-loaded rifles, it'll be somewhat easier. Hopefully before 1846. I want to do this sort of playing of Victoria 2 in like 10-year chunks, so hopefully we can get that done. But all of these armies are perfectly capable, except the one that's just here sort of guarding the capital. Also, we can't expand our fort. See, it is Saarbrücken. That's going to be where we go after the French, because we got a fort there. When they pile across the border, we'll get a defensive bonus, especially with engineers there, honestly. So they'll probably lose, even though their military score is so much higher. A lot of that's naval, honestly. Ours is 63, 44 for our first adversary. What we're going to do probably is try to, unless we get crowned from a gutter, I'll grab up Bohemia if I can. But my only real goal is to remove this from their sphere. It's the only goal I have in mind. Maybe remove Bavaria as well from their sphere if I'm doing well, instead of Bohemia, because I'm going to be going after these. I'll be physically connected. Neither France nor Austria will. And then I can form, at the very least, you know, if I get bored, I can just form Germany, as opposed to the North German Confederation. Now, because it's been a few years, I usually change the provinces that have this particular focus. I just like to make it as maximized as possible with respect to squeezing whatever literacy you can out of each population. It's important because it ups the amount of points that you can dedicate your research points. Clergymen and clerks both provide. Oh, gaining some plurality. Well, let them agitate. Friggin' liberals. Frickin' liberal! We've got a number. See, this one's a little bit larger than the others. That one, too. Does it really matter? Nope. Yeah, just do whatever you want, farmer people. I don't care if you bilk a bank. So we're getting on towards finishing medicine. So it looks like 1841 will be the year of the First Great War. See, our embassy is unbanned. We may actually, at the very least, we're keeping them from really influencing any of the other German miners. And if we can take it diplomatically, I'll take it. Trust me. It's unlikely that they'll probably shoot up in the last minute here, just to block us from doing so. I'm gonna pound you with fucking artillery. Yeah, I think they're gonna cock block us again. But again, at least, oh, hey Greece. Okay. I can't really help you though. I don't have really a navy. See, oh, it's so close, but they're gonna cock block us probably. They threw our advisors out. Oh, this time it looks like it might be growing just fast enough to supplant them. And once medicine's done, we'll start working on steamers. Or maybe the experimental railroad. I'm not sure which one I should do first. They're both good. A railroad allows higher amounts of troops per area. Number 1, number 2, faster troop movement. Number 3, helps industry. Medicine's medicine's probably the single biggest advancement you can ever research, honestly, in any given time period. That or maybe tank warfare like barrels. Alright. That ups our supply limit, reduces our attrition, and reduces our casualties from fighting. The Austrians almost never get that early on. Now we're going to work on steamers, because remember, we're going to have at least a halfway decent navy in order to deal with them. I've, by the way, got some of the notifications turned off in-game. I'm going to wait until 1842 here to see if we get a couple of major advancements. so the army field hospitals specifically. And then we're going to pull our men back from the border. We're going to... What the... Ah, Jesus. Friggin' rebels. What kind of rebels are you? Oh, Scandinavian pan-nationalists. I'm surprised they've risen this early. We'll soon take care of them. You thought you could escape my notice. Yeah, I usually don't use the blood mines. It's generally a bad idea. I could just leave that little... oh, yeah. Derp. Moving a naval unit. I could just leave a couple of men up there, I know, but what's the point? I can always sail up there. Pretty soon we'll have steamers, so it won't be a problem. Okay, we're almost 1842. Yeah, Saxony. Threw us out again. Can't quite get enough leverage, but because they have to pump so much effort in here, if I technically waited... Oh, well, there goes Spain. Oh, Baden just become a great power? Oh, that's really going to hurt the Austrians. That means they're no longer in their sphere. Of course, I'll have to destroy them. Okay, now we've gotten vaccinations. We're going to start moving our troops back and prepare. We don't want any troops that are directly physically connected with any... yeah. And we don't want our tiny army there that can be overrun to be in Berlin, that close to the border, honestly. They probably think I'm withdrawing. Haha. See, I wish I could get them across, but, you know, well, they're a great power now, and they're in Austria's sphere, so I can't even move these troops. I have this little worthless piece of land, Prussian Württemberg. It's part of my cultural core. I will reclaim it. Okay, I think it's time that we go to war with the Austrians here. So the first big test of our military supremacy. First, yeah, okay, I put the stockpile up. Our military's doing fine. And after this first war, first and foremost, we're going to assert hegemony. That doesn't require much in the way of driving up the war score or anything. We're not going to call our allies, because the reason is, before this begins, if you call all these minor states in, then the Bavarians and all these dudes can crush them and move north into areas. For instance, they can move into here. They can attack up here more easily. But if they're not if these states aren't involved in the war, if they're not called as allies in the war, the enemy can't march across them because they're not at war with them. So now we're going to wait while the Austrians advance, see? We could pile across the border and attack. Okay. So, what we're going to do is take our whole damn military and we're just going to rip this army to shreds. We're just going to completely ass blast them. Oh, a couple of our men got engaged on the other side. Okay, that one's been defeated. Yeah, I know they got defeated at Gorlitz. That's because I maneuvered improperly. How did I get defeated, though? I'm still there and they retreated. The fuck? But we're going to move our entire army in tandem in order to slowly pick away at the smaller groups of troops. The reeking putrid stench welling out of the old house smells like mold and rotting timber. There isn't a soul about save an old drunkard who scurries through the back door at the first hint of light shining, an opium addict or some shit. Yeah, so, yeah, we got squalid slums. I don't really see the problem, but I don't want people to be pissed off. So, I mean, we're going to have trinket healthcare eventually anyway, at the very least. Okay. Now. We want to make sure to attack each troop in turn so that they are not able to actually get any of our territory under their banner. Yeah, I know Saxony threw us out. Okay, we just wiped out one of their smaller stacks. Well, actually we have to hit them first. But by doing it this way, you can drive the war score up without the enemy actually being able to do anything. Ooh, chemotherapy, lower army attrition. Okay, now we can break our troops down a little bit to target more of these at once. We're going to send 3 armies that way. And the other 4 down there. We're going to leave him there to heal. Battle of Breslau. Let's see. Battle of Kustrin. Now this forces them back to an area that's already got troops, but that's not a great deal of reinforcement actually being done. We're going to see if we can waylay this. No, we can't waylay that little group. Battle of Lignes. They're going to trop out. We're actually going to chase them across the border because they're weak. We're going to move these troops down to Opelin as soon as they're done engaging, if we can, and we'll clear out Gorlitz on the way. See, now we're on their border. See how you like it. See, they're going to retreat to Gorlitz. We follow them. We're going to bring this troop around this way and down. Okay. What's the war score, by the way? Okay, we're already at 13, and our only goal so far is admit hegemony, but we also want to take Saxony from their sphere. We get a little bit of infamy. This is the longer way to do it, of course. It's 1842. We could have just annexed them, formed North German Confederation right away. We're not going to fail at the goal. As you've seen, see now, once we get them into our sphere, we'll have all the North German states. So that army's being, plowed. I'm plowing their anus right now. We're going to move them back here. Oh, good. They're all going to converge in the same spot. Now, we're going to chase them to Olomouc with our strongest. Where are our other troops? Where'd they go? Where the hell are our other armies? Have we suffered like mass attrition, or am I just missing something here? Who cares? That one's fresh. Oh, yeah, there they are. Derp. That one's fresh, that one's fresh, and that one's fresh. The rest of them that aren't so fresh can engage the smaller army. Well, I think they're going to win that one. Well, maybe not. They're grinding down pretty quick. Oh, reinforcements. Yes. Okay, they're headed here. We've got to follow them. But at the same time, we also have to clear out. We'll send our weakest troops there. A couple of our weaker armies. Yeah, I know Saxony threw them out. Who gives a crap? See, before these armies die entirely, we need them to heal back up on the north side of the border. Now, can we grab Saxony yet? Not quite. We're getting there. And it appears that we've wiped out their military entirely, actually. But we don't want to leave anyone that's too weak on this side of the border. The attrition will kill them off. Nope. Now we march forth into glorious combat. Fuck you, I've already won the war. Why should I have peace? Nope. I'm gonna occupy your capital too. No, you're still not giving me what I want. Why would I want peace with you? Actually, diplomacy-wise, we no longer even need to influence them. So we're immediately going to try to grab up them. Have they fallen out of great power status yet? Nope. Well then we're going to have a war to... I don't know what we're going to do about that. Probably cut them down to size or something. We'll see how this goes. All these little groups trying to rise up. You lost! We might be able to... Let's see. Oh, they still wouldn't accept it? Oh, maybe I'll add a third war goal. What's our infamy actually at right now? It's only at 3.7, so we could, we could grab up Bohemia, or potentially we could like take Bavaria out of their sphere or something. It's not going to really make a difference. It's going to be a lot longer a war if we add a third war goal. But we've already wiped out their troops. Well, that gives us 10 instead of 8 for some reason. No, we'll just go forth and we'll make them suffer a little bit more until they give us what I want. Well, Bavaria. For some reason, we're not even at war with Bavaria right now, and I'm wondering why. Usually they are called into the war. Maybe it's something to do with what they've been up to, turning into a great power for no apparent reason. I see what you're doing there. You're not going to get a chance to make it work, you know. Okay. Hate it when it gets cluttered up. Nope. See, we're gonna wipe you out. See, now we're friendly with both of them. If we added a war goal just to remove one of them from their sphere, though, that could work. It'd be easier. Lower. You're still not trying to accept any offer. I don't want to add any more war goals, though. I just want to form the North German Confederacy right now. I'm not worried about them, by the way, right now, what they're doing. Because haha. Oh no, you don't get to get away that easily. Okay, I'll hint at policy change. Not that I'll deliver it. Chase them down there. Okay, so we can now We get a decision. North German Confederation. Yes! Now look at our borders. Significantly larger. That's essentially the first important step. Now, we're going to have to prepare for a war with France, which is slightly unfortunate, because France is a lot more difficult to deal with ultimately than Austria. But at least we don't have to worry about the Austrians doing anything to us for a while. God damn it. We're flying under a different flag now. Actually, just fucking... You don't need to be going there. What are you talking about? And also, we're about to get steamers, which will help us in our next war as well. Alright, yeah. See, soon we'll have a better naval presence as well. You go back to Berlin. We'll probably add more artillery to our... I mean, look at our budget right now. We've got significant advantage over some of the struggling economies of the world. But I gotta bring my troops up here and then form them. Now, because we're going to be going to war with France, we're definitely going to want better dig-in capabilities and defensive works. Because otherwise we'll get destroyed, essentially. See, we've suffered a small amount of attrition. A couple of our infantry units have died. Okay, so each one of those needs... Okay, they've got their 4. So I need 1... Well, I can just... sort of as a placeholder here. Okay, that's your extra infantry. And then these armies... That one's full as well. That one's full as well. And this one needs 2, and I've only got 1 there, so we'll build an extra infantry. And then I'll build 1 more standard army, including an engineer. Oh, not irregulars, infantry. See, we're still running a surplus, again, despite the fact that we're building a huge amount of troops here. Okay, so each of these has a horsey and a cannon. Oh, and that one needs an engineer, actually. Build an engineer. Okay. That has horsey, cannon, engineer. Alright, we need another engineer. Engineers significantly help an army that's defending against attack. It's not so great with attack itself unless you're attempting to take over an enemy position. And I think we need 1 more. And then we're just going to build... Oh, I can get 2 out of that. A bunch of additional artillery, and we're going to try to add an artillery unit to every standing army as well. So by having an engineer in each army, it significantly increases its defensive capabilities. See, we've got rebel factions right now as well. I don't think so. Gotha, Holstein. I'm not afraid of the Polish. Nassau, Hesse. Most of those different groups of people will disperse over time. So this one needed the 2 extra infantrymen. Oh, yeah, and there's the other one, actually. That's engineer. Oh, well, we can add him to our sphere. Oh, Okay, so Bavaria is already in our sphere. We can't do anything about them, and it'll be fairly easy to get Württemberg. We're going to have to fight, probably, Baden. Which I didn't want to have to do. I've never seen them become a great power before. Okay, so that's the engineer. They need an engineer. Okay, so again, horsey, artillery, engineer, and 4 men. So those 2 are full. That one needs an engineer. That one needs an engineer. That one's full. I'm trying to keep them off to the side if they're completely full. These 3 still need engineers. That one's full. Artillery, horsey, infantry, infantry. That one's almost full of men. Still needs an engineer. Bloody revolutionaries. Oh, we're going to defend the old order. Yes. Okay. They still need their engineers, my friends. Extra artillery, extra artillery, extra artillery. The first engineer. Second engineer. Extra artillery. Austria managed to get him out of our sphere again. Extra artillery. And this is the general form that the armies take early on, at least in my games. Austria's playing hardcore there. Okay, so these 5 armies are complete. Oh, actually, that one other than its artillery. We got a couple artillery coming. So that'll give us 7 fully completed armies. Oh, we can bat. Oh. Gotta keep an eye out on them. See, the French are gonna remove it next. Keeping it in flux, though, ultimately isn't a problem. I'm kind of ignoring that to focus on my troops, honestly, right now. So that one's not quite complete. That'll be where the next artillery goes. That one doesn't have its extra artillery. All of those do, though, for the most part. That one doesn't. Full, 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 full. I'm a little bit anally retentive about making sure the armies are properly organized. It pays off long term, though. Okay, we'll be able to finish another one here in a sec. So we'll have 8 fully developed armies, essentially. Well, you keep it up, rebelling. I don't care about you. I will kill my own citizens. See, both France and Austria want Bavaria in their sphere. The French as basically an ally as a counterbalance against me because I formed the North German Confederation. And now, also, it's time to remove that. I'll put it over here. Move that focus and put it down here. Our literacy is now above 70%. For the mid-1800s, that's pretty good, honestly. A lot of states back then were like, 10, 20, maybe 30% if they're lucky. I think Portugal's literacy right now at this point in the game is like 40. I think it's like 45 for Spain, similar for like the Netherlands. The only ones that are high, by now Sweden's obviously around 80%. Oh, I got steamer transports. I don't care. Alrighty. That means we won't be needing you anymore. We're going to very quickly build a relatively good naval force. We don't have really a tier 2 navy at this point. It's still a tier 1 navy, but at least it's there and at least it comprises steamers. Because that helps you move your troops around. Honestly, Austria sinks so far behind as far as its naval capabilities go that typically what ends up happening is they'll be fighting with a bunch of frigates and clippers well into the late 1800s while everyone else is using monitors and so forth. And it just becomes very funny. After a while, it becomes clear that they didn't take their navy seriously. And you can see our economy doesn't even really decline. Right now we've got enough industry and also they're cheap enough to build that it's not a problem for us. Yeah, I always ignore the issue. I don't care if consciousness rises. I don't care if there are rebel factions in our country. One thing that might help to quell them a little bit. Actually, we'll lower it even further than that. Our budget is no longer a problem. And then if we can get... Oh, perfect. It's exactly what we need. We will have... Now we'll have a decent standing army with decent technology. Oh, we can acquire a state from France. Not that we can really use it. Until strategic mobility comes out. I want to fortify this to a level 2 fort if I can. Oh, Tuscany wants to be friends. Can I be friends with you, maybe? Can I form alliances with anybody around here? Well, the Swedes, like, want to be my friend? No? You want to be my friend? Obviously not. Hey, you want to be my friend, people I just killed? Okay. Bavaria is likely to ally with us. Actually, they might be likely to ally with us. Maybe. Okay, well, we'll take a chance, I guess. See, it's impossible for them. The Belgians, no. Sometimes these guys want to be allies. Not this time, apparently. Not the people now. They're in the French sphere. Hey, Spain, you want to be friends? They'll probably all reject it. Oh! Oh no, they both accepted. Which means technically we have another great power as an ally, which actually comes in fairly handy, since they're going to quickly gain quite a bit in research. Okay, we have strategic mobility. We have our steamers. I think it's time we enable railroads. Because what that will do is set the groundwork for our eventual industrial boom. Because keep in mind your decisions here. EMS dispatch and so forth. In order to... which one is it actually? Yeah, for this you need a higher industrial score than 500 for rural industrialism. And that's a fairly important advance. We're going to have steel steamers eventually, so we'll get that, which actually is pretty good. That helps with your Navy ship repair rates. We're building a fairly massive number of steamers here, all told. Our military will soon be complete as far as what we can do at this stage in the game. And then when that's done, I'll cut this off and I'll do more tomorrow or sometime. Oh no. Rebels, oh Jesus. Yeah. Be my friend. Why can't we be friends? Jesus. Go away. I lowered your tax rate. We've got a great military. We reunified already. Jesus. What more could you possibly hope for? We actually have a navy now that isn't like 1600s technology, sailboats and shit. What more could you possibly want, you friggin' peasants? But yeah, we'll have 9 army groups here that will be fully stocked. Each one of those will fare, by the way, fairly well against French death stacks. Oh, why would my ally have my dudes thrown out? Huh? Well, intervention's a good thing in this game. Jesus, trust me. Okay, so our armies are done. We'll wait until 10 years have passed, 1846, and we will save the game. See, our steamers are starting to be built now. We'll arrange them into groups of roughly 10 steamers apiece, by the way. Oh yeah. Then, unfortunately, we have to fight France, but we're not that far behind them. We're at 96, they're at 113. Not bad. Oh, come on. Do you want me to go to war with you again already? And then we're going to have to fight off the Russians, too. But we have to take that chunk from France. We have to take this little 3-core area. They've also got sulfur, fairly valuable since we don't have any. They got precious metals. That's a pretty good area to control. Oh, for the love of Pete. I'm getting tired of these rebels. This is a troubled time in Germany's history, as you can see. I'll kill these rebels and then stop. Oh yeah! So there you have it. North Germany has reformed. We still need to knock them out of great power status, although it may happen on its own. What rank? Well, actually, they're 10th in rank, so they will be losing that status potentially, which isn't surprising since they're literally just that. That's all they are. I don't know how they got it. Must have been a prestige move. They must have gotten some... I think whoever gets medicine first gets a massive boost. So they must have gotten medicine first. That launched them ahead or something. It won't last long. We're going to have to get both of these in our sphere as well as Bavaria. We have to cut the French off from these 2 states they adjoin. Then we have to literally crush Austria. We're going to be probably knocking them out of great power status once we get a couple of these in our sphere. Then we'll add the last to our sphere as a war goal, along with, once they're gone, we'll add Austria to our sphere, and then we'll form Super Germany and become unstoppable. We'll immediately go to war with Russia. We'll probably bully the French in a great war at some point. Maybe carve off a chunk of Sweden, maybe go into North Italy. We'll take this, we'll take the Romagna area, we'll take over Parma and so forth. And it'll be a great time had by all, and pretty soon we're going to have railroads. So we're only about 10 years behind the British, honestly, which isn't that bad, considering the historical trends that happened in Germany. But 1/10 of the way through the game here, we've got a formidable army over here, sort of, I guess, stalking the Netherlands. Pretty soon, though, before I forget, that has to be done. We should probably fortify Berlin, too. It's fairly important. We will be... stacking down here and getting ready for a war with France. It's not Vive la France anymore. That is our land that you are in. See, it's part of our core. But that's about all. Peace out.